Hello everybody, today we're going to be looking at upgrading Laravel Jetstream from version 1 to version 2, and we're going to specifically be looking at the Vue Inertia stack. It is worthwhile doing this upgrade because Jetstream version 2 actually migrates the authentication pages, so your login page, your registration page, away from Blade templates and puts them into Vue Components. And that solves one issue, which, as you can see here, I've got Jetstream up and I'm logged into my dashboard. If the session expires and then I click dashboard, you can see that the login page actually opens up inside a modal, which is quite annoying. So by migrating from Blade templates and into Vue components, that prevents this issue from happening. We're also going to be upgrading to Inertia 0.5, which has a much cleaner syntax. So it's definitely worth doing this upgrade. Okay, let's start by installing Jetstream 2. So if we go to our project and I come over to Composer.json, you can see here I've got Laravel Jetstream, I've got 1.6 installed. So let's just upgrade that to 2.0 and go to the terminal, Composer, update, and it should update that for us. Okay, now we want to add the remove team member action, which allows us to add any additional functionality as to what happens when a team member is removed. And to do that, we're going to want to manually copy this over from the Jetstream vendor files. Usually you would have Jetstream do this on a fresh install of version 2, but we're having to do it manually. So if we come to vendor, and then we come down to Laravel, and then we go into Jetstream, and then we go to stubs, and then we go to app, and then we go to actions, and then Jetstream. You'll see there's a remove team member class. So let's just copy that and go to app, actions, Jetstream, and then we just copy that straight in, like so. So there's our remove team member action. And then we just need to add that to the service provider. So you just come into providers. 1 second, I've got too many things open now. Sure I'm not in, there we go, providers, and then Jetstream service provider here. And now we have a remove team member action. To add that, we can just put in Jetstream, remove team member using, and then that will be remove team member action class, like so. There's also a new team invitation migration, which we're going to want to add. So if we come back down to our Jetstream vendor files, and we should be under models, you should see there's a team invitation class or model added. And if we copy that, and we want to copy that straight into our own models, so that's app models, and then I'll just paste that in. And obviously there's also going to be a migration associated to that. So come back to the vendor files, and under database here and under migrations, you'll see that there is a create team invitations table. So just copy that and then just add that into your own migrations section, which is database, migrations, and then we can just copy that in. And of course, we just come back over to the terminal, PHP artisan migrate. Okay, with that done, we now just want to publish our new Vue components for the authentication pages, and they've given us a command for that. So that's PHP artisan vendor publish tag equals Jetstream Inertia Auth pages, and they should go published into resources, JS, pages, Auth. So we can just go over and have a look at that. Go to resources, JS, pages, Auth, and as you can see, we've got our new Auth Vue components there. One of the things I just quickly want to mention, if I have a look over in login.vue, and you can see here where we've got import jet authentication card, we have this little @ symbol, and that's because Laravel now uses an alias, and it hasn't done in all versions, so you just need to check. If you've got webpack.config.js, it should look like this, and then as you can see, it's resolving this @ symbol to resources.js. So just check that you've got that in there, and if you haven't, just pause the video here, and then I would just copy that into your project. And then if you come over to this webpack.mix.js, make sure you add this part here, which says webpack config, and then require the webpack config. And that allows us to transpile our Vue components properly, otherwise you'll end up with some errors. Here you'll see that this is actually using Laravel Mix 6, so it has this little Vue function. If you're using an earlier version of Laravel, you won't be able to use the Vue function, so just ignore that. Just make sure that you get this webpack config function put in. Okay, now we just want to upgrade Inertia. So if we come over to package.json, and we are going to want to upgrade the Inertia version to 0.8.0 and the InertiaVue version to 0.5.0. Come over to the terminal, npm install, and that should upgrade Inertia for us. Now that's installed, we're going to need to update our app entry point. So if we come back over to our project and we want to come up to resources.js, and then you'll see we have app.js here. And now we're not going to be using inertia form anymore. We can get rid of that. And we can also get rid of that. And then we now want to import app as inertia app. And so we can keep this part the same now as we've done that. And we're going to want plugin as inertia plugin, and then rather than use inertia app, we now use inertia plugin, like so. One thing I just want to point out here is if you have a look up here, we have this Vue mixin methods root. And that's because it's using Ziggy to resolve our named roots, our Laravel named roots. In Jetstream version 1.6, Ziggy was automatically installed, but it wasn't in earlier versions. So if you need to install Ziggy, and you'll be able to see that if you come down to your composer JSON file, and you need to add this in if you haven't got it there, titanco.ziggy. And actually, you can use 1.0 for Jetstream version 2. And so you just need to install Ziggy. And then if you come back over to your app.blade page, you then just need to add this @roots directive just above your main script or your app.js script. And that will give you access to Ziggy. And that means you can then add this Vue mixin methods root, and then you'll be able to, if I just go over to the login page, you can see what it's actually doing. You see here it says this.root login, and that's our Laravel named root. So if you haven't got Ziggy installed, make sure you install Ziggy because it's needed for the new authentication components. Now if we go over to the browser and have a look at our Jetstream app, and we go to dashboard, you'll see that we've got a blank page. So if we open up the console, you can see that we've now got a bunch of errors, and this one is cannot read property profile photo URL of undefined. And that's because the object for the new version of Inertia is different from the object from the old version of Inertia, so it cannot find profile photo URL, and that's to do with the shared data that's being sent to our app. So if we come back over to our app code and we come up to app layout, you'll see here, and these are the bits that are causing us the issue. So it says $page.jetstream page.manages profile photos. But the new format now is $page.props.jetstream, and anytime you see this $page, it has to be updated to $page.props. So I'm just going to remove that out so that I can do this nice and quickly, and I'm going to go over and I'm just going to $page, and then anytime you find that, just replace it with $page.props. Hit replace all, so I've replaced all of them. As you go down, you should be able to see everything becomes $page.props. And by the way, if you haven't actually updated the app layout, you can easily just copy it over from the vendor files like we did earlier. And if I come over to the browser, hit refresh, you can see that it now displays correctly. So I've gone ahead and I've done the same thing over on our profile page. So if we go to profile, you'll see that it does load up, but we've now got another bunch of errors and two of our forms haven't turned up. The one to update our profile information and the one to update our password. So if we go back over to our code, and we go to update profile information, the first thing we're going to need to do is to do page.props as we just did previously. And the other error that we're going to get is where it says form error photo, it's now form.errors.photo, so it's no longer a function that takes a field name. So form.errors.name and form.errors.email. Like so, and if I come back over and hit refresh, you'll see that the form shows up. One of the things here now, though, is if I try to hit save, you'll see that we're not actually getting the validation errors up. And that's because there's some slightly different formats here. So here where we've got this bit that says bag, update profile information, reset on success, that's not included in the new version of Inertia that we're having. Instead, we pass it through to the here. So this.form.post, and we do bag, and this is now called error bag, update profile information. And if I refresh the page, remove my name, hit save, there we go, and you'll see that we've got our validation errors back. Another change that's been made is to the way that the Inertia forms actually work. So if we come down to the bottom, we've got this delete photo, you'll see that Inertia delete previously returned a promise. Well, that's not the case anymore. So this section will never work, and in fact if we did try to delete the photo we would get an error. I haven't actually got photos turned on, so let's go and do that quickly. If you come over to config, I'll just type that in because I've got lots of windows open. If you go to config and you go to Jetstream, I can just turn features profile photos. I might as well turn on the API features as well while we're here, and just hit refresh. There we go. You'll see that because we've turned that on, we've now got a photo. I haven't actually got a photo to delete, so I'm just going to go away quickly. I'm going to upload a photo and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to change that form. Okay, so I've uploaded my photo now, and if I just clear out the console for a second and then I hit remove photo, you see it does actually remove it, but I get this deprecation warning. So it does actually work, but Inertia is telling me that promises will be removed in future releases, and then we need to use the new event callbacks instead. Okay, so if we come back over to our code, and let's come back to delete photo, you'll see that this then section needs to be removed, and what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with on finish, and then we just go this dot photo preview equals null, like so, and then we'll just let that. Okay, that's been built for us, and I'm just going to go and re-upload that photo, and then I'll come back to show you it working without the deprecation error. Okay, so I've uploaded the photo again, and I'll just clear the console again, and then if I hit remove photo, there we go. You'll see that I no longer get that deprecation error, and the image has been set back to null. Okay, now let's quickly repeat that process with the update password form. So let's come over here, and update password is here, and if we come So we've got form dot errors current password, and this is for our input errors. Form dot errors password, form dot errors password confirmation, and we want to take this and place that here, and that will be called error bag. Then we can just get rid of that. And then we want to go on finish and take this bit inside the then section. So, and then let's just let that refresh. Refresh the page. As you can see, we've got current password up, and if I hit save, there we go, you can see that our validation errors are showing. If you haven't actually changed any of these forms or sections, like here there should be the two-factor authentication section, you don't necessarily need to go through and do this edit. What you can do instead is you can come down to the vendor files, just like we did before, and under here, as you see, inside the inertia section, you go profiles, and then we can take the delete user form and we can just copy that one over to our profiles. Okay, let's overwrite that. And we're also going to want two-factor authentication form, which is here. Let's bring in the two-factor authentication form. Overwrite. And the log other browser sessions form, we want that one as well. Okay, log out other browser sessions. And we can just place that one into our project. Write it. And then if I come over to this page, hit refresh, there we go, you should see everything working properly. Okay, so the final thing we're going to have to do is turn on account deletion. In version 1, account deletion was on by default, but we actually have to manually turn it on in version 2. So if we come back over to our code and we go back to config Jetstream, then we can add this new features, and it is account deletion, and there's also a terms and privacy policy which you might want to turn on if you want the terms and privacy policy routes to be available in your app. So now if we come back over here, account deletion will work. I'm obviously not going to delete the account right now, and that should be your entire app updated. Of course, you're going to have to do this for your other pages. You'll want to be able to do it in your API tokens and your team settings, but it's pretty much the same process that we've just been through. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please put a like on it, subscribe if you're enjoying the channel, and I shall see you next time.